getting some information at 17. Good for you. So Sierra shows up, and let's just say for just a moment that she's 18 so she could become a distributor. It's different in different states. 3 months and she'll be one. And let's say Sierra says, are you finished high school?
No, I'm a senior.
Oh, you're a senior? Okay. And after that, plan on going to college?
Yes.
All right, cool. So let's say I talk to her and I say, Sierra, I got this, this cool thing, and I tell my story and I do the thing. And you see what it is. And I say, Sierra, what'd you like best? And she says, oh, it really, I like the business. And then on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you? Would you like to join? I'm a 9. I don't have any money. This is all great, but I don't have any money. I'm in high school. I'm just getting ready to turn 18. Sierra, I would say, Sierra, listen, I get it. I understand. And guess what? For a lot of people, even myself, older than you, money is always kind of a big deal. Trying to figure out how you're going to save it, how you're going to deal with it, how you're going to have a nest egg, how do you, in case something happens, how do you have a little extra, how do you make this thing work, right? So dealing with that, even at an older age than you, I was stressed out about it. So I totally understand trying to figure out how you're going to make your life work, how you're going to make college work, how you're going to make all that stuff work, and is there space to be able to do this, and is it worth the investment? Because I know you're going to have to invest in those credits in college, right? So I totally understand where you're at, and I respect it. But let me tell you a story. Then you go to story. And now my story is way different than Sierra, yeah? I mean, I don't know how different it is at the time of life, but there's big differences here. You don't have to be the same person in order to be able to prospect. You understand what I'm saying? You can be different colors, different ages, different whatever. If you use this approach, you're still going to be fine. So I go to Sierra and I say, let me tell you a story. When I first was introduced to this thing, I had no money. And matter of fact, I not only had no money, I had debt. I'd started a little family and I had debt, and I was really worried. And I didn't know how I was going to be able to create a future for myself. I just didn't know. And I realized when I looked at this that if I didn't make some changes, then I might never have any money. If I just followed the crowd, I was going to have what the crowd had. So I looked around and I looked at what successful people did and the risks they were willing to take and how much they were willing to invest in themselves. And just like investing in college, I used this as an opportunity to invest in myself, to grow me, to become an entrepreneur, because I wanted to go into business for myself. And I sense that you probably do too, right? Yeah, to be in business for yourself, there's no better school than this, to be able to build yourself a future. That's what I realized for me is if I invested in this for me, I didn't go to college. I wasn't smart enough to do it. But I decided to take that little bit that I would have invested in college, I invested it in growing my business, and I found a support system that would help me and guide me and be patient with me and help me every single step of the way. So let me ask you a question. If I could show you how to turn a little bit of an investment into an entrepreneurial school and build a business while you were getting your education, to be able to create an income so by the time you graduate, you've got a business that's already working and kicking out income for you. If I could show you how to do that and balance that and be resourceful enough to figure it out like you're figuring out college, if I could show you that, would you be willing to take the next step and at least take another look? Of course. So, was that a script? No, but it was a formula. And I could do it for any single person. It's very difficult for somebody to say no to me if they want it. If they want it. What's your name, sir? Michael. So I go to Michael. Michael says, you know what? I say, we start going through, and he says, look, I don't have the time.
I really don't have time right now.
Oh,
a lot of kids.
A lot of kids?
And a business.
And a business? What kind of business?
I do concrete and landscaping.
Concrete and landscaping?
Yes, sir.
Wow. And where do you do that?
Colorado Springs.
Colorado Springs. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's tough on your body probably, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, pretty tough. How long have you been doing it?
18 years.
Wow. So listen, when you said I don't have the time, that's funny, is I had the same exact thought when I looked at this. Who has time? We're raising a family, we're taking care of kids, trying to have a minute for ourselves every once in a while, trying to take care of our bodies, trying to build a business, do all this stuff. I got enough to get to the weekend and collapse and get enough energy to start the new week.
Well, the weekend goes for my wife right here.
Huh?
The weekend goes to my wife.
The weekend goes to your wife. Yeah. So between all of that, what you're dealing with is overwhelm, right?
Oh, yeah.
I was dealing with the same thing. Same exact thing.
Really?
I know where you're coming from. And let me tell you, when I looked at this, I almost said no because I didn't have the time. But here's what went through my head. What happens if I just keep doing what I'm doing now? 5 years from today, where am I? 10 years from today, where am I? More stressed out or less? And I realized for me, I was going to be more stressed out. Every year I delayed making some changes. My body was going to suffer. My family was going to suffer. My income was going to suffer. My future was going to suffer. So what I realized for me is that if I really wanted to have a better future for them and for my family and for myself, I needed to make a few changes. And it was hard at the beginning. But you know what I figured out a way to carve out a little bit. And you know how I viewed it? I viewed it, all the time I was already spending, that was my keep the machine going time. But I carved out a little bit. Just at the beginning was just like 10 hours a week that I carved out. And that was for my family. That was for my future, really for them. You know, I carved that time out, and that time was precious. Every minute I spent there was a minute to buy my time back so I can be with them and give them opportunities and take care of all these different things. So I realized that if I didn't carve the time out now, and if I didn't sacrifice that now and figure that out now, that I wasn't being the leader of that household that I wanted to be. I wasn't being the man that I wanted to be. I wasn't taking care of the people that I wanted to take care of. That's what went through my mind. So I said, you know what, I'm going to make the time. And I figured it out. So let me ask you a question. If I could show you how to do what I did, if I could show you how to carve out that time and invest it in your family, in your future and all that stuff, if I could show you how to make a few changes so your whole life changes, right? And we did this together. I can help you as you build it. It's not going to be overnight, but it's going to be worth it. If I could show you how to do that without blowing your whole life up, would you be willing to take another look? Would you be willing to take the next step?
You know, with concrete, it's, I mean, man, you get tired. You're out in the sun all day.
I get it.
I mean, I get home at 6, 7 o'clock at night, and I'm freaking beat.
I get it.
Beat.
I was the same way.
And so, I mean, from 7 to what? I mean,
I get it.
Just a couple hours a night. I mean,
yep. I totally understand. But back to the same question. Here's the question I asked myself, and you have to ask the question for yourself. Mm-hmm. I don't want you to do something you don't want to do. But to be your friend in this situation, I got to tell you that for things to change, something's got to change. Because if you keep doing what you've been doing, fast forward 5 years and you'll see where you're at. And you think you're tired now? You're good. It's not going to get easier. It's going to get harder, right?
Yeah.
And as your employees let you down one by one, like mine did one by one, and more gets thrown on your shoulders every single day, you realize it gets heavy. Mm-hmm. So I decided to make a change. You don't have to, but I would wish it for you.
Oh, I definitely want to.
Yeah, if you want to, I can show you how.
Okay.
You open?
Yep.
All right. See what I'm saying with this? Understand? That sounds magical, right? It's not magical. It's not magical. I literally followed those 4 steps. I listened, I related, I told him my story. I didn't tell him, hey, change your whole life's going to be hell. What I said is, for me, I realized if I didn't change, nothing was going to change. If I didn't do something different in the next 5 years, nothing was going to be different. And I let him own his little piece of whatever my story was in relating to him. See what I mean? It's the same. I can literally do the same thing if somebody says, I'm not a salesperson. I totally get it. I get it. Who wants to be? I get uncomfortable. I get uncomfortable. I walk under a car lot. Do you get uncomfortable when you walk under a car lot to buy a car and they start selling you? I hate that. And the idea of selling something to somebody here, I'd like, give me your credit card and selling something freaks me out. Right? But what I realized for me, when I did my homework here, I realized that what happens inside of this company is not what I thought salespeople were going to do. I'm not running around with a bunch of stuff in the trunk of my car, a bunch of widgets. All I do is introduce people to products that I think they might like. And if they like them, I connect them directly to the company. I'm out of it. It's the coolest thing ever. And they send me checks every single month. It's unbelievable. All I have to do, guess what? I don't have to sell at all, and I don't. What I do is I introduce people to what it is that we have. I let them know the benefits. If they decide to do something fantastic, if they do, I get a commission for as long as they use the product. It's the coolest thing ever. So let me ask you a question. If I could show you how to get involved and not feel uncomfortable like a hardcore salesperson, to be able to do it and help people who need great products get those great products and deal directly with the company and get paid along the way. If I could show you how to do that, not only do that, but build a team of other people doing it and have fun, work with really fun people, would you be willing to keep going down this process? Would you be willing to, take the next look? Would you be willing to take the next step? The answer is of course. Same. Listen, relate, tell stories, answer questions, or ask the question, Listen, relate to, and sometimes you might not have a story to be able to tell. You talk to a person that's saying, look, I make $1 million a year right now. And you listen to them, you go, wow, me too. You can't really relate, right? So that's really, really cool. And I will tell you what, there's some other people that have gotten involved in our business that are very successful prior to getting involved. And I can't speak from being, $1 million a year earner, but here's what I will tell you that they told me. They told me they were bored. They told me they were looking for a challenge. They told me they were looking for something interesting, some legacy. They'd made the money, but they really hadn't been able to contribute in somebody else's life. They wanted to get around something positive. They wanted to make a difference. I don't know if that relates to you, but that's what they told me. That's the reason why they joined, because I asked them the same question. Why would you take a look at something like this when you're so successful already? Amazing. And for me, when I heard their story, I said, you know what? I could go down a traditional path and beat myself up and have to have winners and losers all over the place. And for me to win, a bunch of people have to lose. Or I could get involved in something where I can only win if other people get to win. So that's what I decided to do. So if I could show you what these other super successful people that joined the company did in order to be able to get their head around this opportunity, and if I could show you how I used this in order to be able to build something that I'm enjoying and having fun doing all the time, if I could show you how to match that with what you got going on in your life, would you be interested in continuing the process? The answer is sure, why not? See what I'm saying? You can't give me an objection that I can't answer with this. You can't do it. Anybody think of one? Anybody want to think of one? Give me one that I can't get. Don't have the confidence. He doesn't have the confidence. I totally understand. When you say you don't have confidence, is it confidence in entrepreneurship?
Confidence in myself. I don't have the confidence in myself to talk to the people to do what you do.
You don't have confidence to talk to people to do what I do?
Correct.
Okay. Now, what's your background, sir?
I build computers.
You build computers. So you've lived in a world where you're just dealing with the machines, you're dealing with all that stuff.
Customers.
And you deal with some customers, though.
I deal with customers. It's tough to, customers are tough.
So what do you do with the customers? Do you enjoy that part, or do you just want to get it over with?
No, I just want to repair them and